All right, thanks for tuning in the video today. Today, guys, I know this is not the norm. This is not truck reviews. This is, my wife wanted to do some chicken stuff, so we're gonna do maybe 3 or 4 videos of chicken stuff, and that's probably gonna be it. But, you know, we went through the process of doing it, and I was like, you probably ought to shoot video on this and record it. So, and seems to be a lot of demand for it on YouTube and a lot of questions. So today we're gonna talk about the TSC Brooder. I picked the TSC Brooder up, and I've made a couple things that have adjustments that seem to work better, just from reviews. It doesn't really get as hot in there. There's a lot of vents, you know. We keep it about 72 degrees in here, and I've got a divider in it right now, and I'll show you all that. It's right here in the center, and then I've lowered the heat plate down, and you can get you a little thermometer like this and put it under the heat plate, because, you know, the first week the chicks need to be about 95 degrees. To test how low you need to get that heat plate. So anyway, basically I've got my 1-week-old chicks on this side, and then those are 1-day-old chicks on that side. And I'm gonna integrate those later, but I need to let the 1-day-old ones get a little bit more built up, a little bit more energy before we put them with these. So anyway, let's turn this camera around. I'll show you a few edits I've done to this thing to make it work good for me. On this side of the house, we keep it about 72, 73 degrees. You know, and I keep it on the Brooder setting on the heater. You know, if you put it on the heater, it's too hot. And I usually have a blanket over it. I took the blanket off right now. I cover the front and I cover the back, and it keeps it about 83 degrees in there, which is fine for the chicks, because you want them to be able to get out from under that heat if they want to get out to the side and not be too hot. But then also you want to put one of these in there and make sure you're at 95 degrees under the heat plate when they're newborn. And then, you know, I think every week or every 2 weeks, you basically peel them off to, you know, 90, then 85. As they grow their feathers, they're you know, they don't have to be under the heat. So anyway, let me turn this around and I'll show you kind of some of the edits I've made. Okay, so if you look right there at the top, you can see you can go to TSC or any, you know, Lowe's, and just get that metal strap with the holes in it. And I just picked up some wing nuts and some machine screws, and all I did was lower that plate down. You know, if it's up here on the top, it is way too high, and you're not gonna be hot enough down there on the surface for the chicks when they're born. And that's one of the biggest complaints with these. You know, if you run it on heater, it might be, you know, the difference is 40 watts versus 200 watts. But then also, if you're gonna keep it outside, you know, you're gonna have to cover it with a blanket, kind of like I have been. But you're gonna have to, you know, if it's real cold outside, you may have to run that heater setting. Like I said, just get you one of these thermometers and check it. But that's one of the things I've done there. And then the other edit I did, as you can see in there, that is the hardware mesh, chicken hardware mesh. And I basically ran it down the center, and I just cut it out around the heater for now, just so I could keep these chicks separated. You know, the droppings, they do pile up a little bit on the grate, but as the chicks walk on it, it falls through. And you know, I was looking, what size puppy pads do you need to cover this whole tray down here? You know, what dimension? And then I got these at TSC also. These are the XL super absorbent, so the extra large puppy pads. And that makes it really easy to change the tray out, because if you look down the bottom of that tray, it fits that tray perfectly. It goes all the way from one side to the other and covers it. So it makes it really easy to swap the tray out. Just thought I'd clip this in so you can see Barred Rock day-old chicks. This is what they look like. They just hatched probably about 8 to 9 hours ago. It's pretty funny when they fall asleep. You'll watch them, they all kind of go to sleep together, and then they'll sleep for about a minute, and then they all jump back up and they run around. It's pretty funny. So guys, that's really about it. Overall, I really like the TSC Brooder. You know, it saves you from having to do the shavings. And then, you know, if you do the pine shavings, you're gonna have the dust and the pine shavings dust in the house. You know, I know these are young chicks. We're gonna move them probably out of the house pretty soon, but I wanted to let them get their feathers and get a little bit more developed before we do that. But not having the shavings and not having the dust and This really doesn't smell at all. You know, we had a bunch of guests at the house this weekend, and that's one benefit to doing this versus doing other thing. And cleaning is really simple. You know, with these chicks, I basically try to change the water out. I haven't had any issues with any chicken poop in the water, anything like that. It's worked really well, but I change the water out about every 4 days just to make sure that they're getting good fresh water and no issues there. But anyway, overall, TSC Brooder, I would recommend it. I'm pretty happy with it, and just makes a couple edits to it, and it seems to do real well. So anyway, thank you for watching the video. Please hit that like and subscribe, and we'll catch you on the next one.